Spartacus. The name still echoes with rebellion and defiance, conjuring images of a warrior who dared to challenge the might of the Roman Empire. Born into slavery, Spartacus transformed himself from a gladiator forced to fight for entertainment into a brilliant military leader who led a slave revolt that shook the very foundations of ancient Rome. His story is one of courage, strategic brilliance, and an unyielding thirst for freedom. Before he became a symbol of resistance, Spartacus was a gladiator, trained in the brutal art of combat in the harsh training schools of Capua. This experience would prove invaluable. It gave him not only physical prowess, but also a keen understanding of Roman military tactics, weaponry, and fighting styles. This knowledge would become his weapon against his former oppressors. In 73 BC, Spartacus, along with around 70 other gladiators, dared to escape the Ludus, a gladiatorial training school. Armed with whatever they could scavenge, kitchen knives, farming tools, and sharpened stakes, this small band of rebels ignited a spark of rebellion that would blaze into a full-fledged uprising against the Roman Republic. The escaped gladiators, desperate for freedom, sought refuge on the slopes of Mount Vesuvius, a seemingly impregnable volcanic peak. This strategic choice provided a natural fortress from which Spartacus could launch raids and gather support. It was here that Spartacus's military genius began to shine. When Roman forces, underestimating the slaves' will to fight, attempted to lay siege to Vesuvius, Spartacus surprised them with a daring nighttime raid. Using ropes woven from vines, his forces descended the treacherous slopes of the volcano and attacked the unsuspecting Roman camp, routing their legions and seizing valuable weapons and supplies. This victory, a testament to Spartacus's tactical brilliance and his understanding of terrain, attracted thousands of desperate slaves to his cause. His army, a diverse mix of people from various tribes and backgrounds, swelled in number, united by their shared desire for freedom. As Spartacus's forces grew, so did his ambition. His army, once a small band of escaped slaves, had swelled into a formidable force, attracting thousands of followers. He knew that to truly win their freedom, they could not remain confined to the Italian peninsula. The Roman legions would relentlessly pursue them if they stayed. He envisioned leading his people north, across the formidable barrier of the Alps, and into Gaul, where they could disperse to their homelands or forge new lives free from Roman tyranny. This was a bold and risky plan, but it offered the promise of true freedom. In a display of audacious generalship, Spartacus led his army on a daring march north, navigating through treacherous terrain and hostile territories. Outmaneuvering and defeating several Roman legions sent to intercept them, Spartacus demonstrated his tactical brilliance and the resilience of his forces. His ability to maintain discipline and morale amongst such a diverse and inexperienced force, while marching through hostile territory, speaks volumes about his leadership qualities. His men trusted him implicitly, following him through every challenge. However, the Alps, with their treacherous passes and unforgiving weather, proved a more formidable foe. The harsh conditions tested the limits of Spartacus's leadership and the endurance of his men. Whether due to dissent within his ranks or the sheer logistical impossibility of the task, Spartacus was forced to abandon his plan to cross the mountains. The dream of reaching Gaul had to be set aside. He turned his army south, intending to seek passage across the Adriatic Sea. This new direction offered a glimmer of hope, a chance to escape the relentless pursuit of the Roman legions. Spartacus excelled at unconventional warfare, utilizing guerrilla tactics and psychological warfare to great effect. He understood the importance of speed, mobility, and surprise, often striking Roman legions when they were least expecting it, and then melting back into the countryside before reinforcements could arrive. He also used captured Roman standards and symbols in his own ranks, both to demoralize his enemies and to bolster the confidence of his own troops. By adopting some elements of Roman military discipline and training, he transformed his ragtag army into a formidable fighting force capable of going toe-to-toe with the legions of Rome. Despite a string of victories, Spartacus's rebellion was ultimately doomed. The odds were stacked against him from the start, with the might of Rome bearing down on his forces. The Roman Senate, realizing the profound threat posed by the slave army, dispatched their most skilled general, Marcus Licinius Crassus, to crush the revolt. Crassus was known for his wealth and his ruthless efficiency in battle. Crassus, a ruthless and ambitious leader, employed brutal tactics, including decimation, the execution of 1 in 10 men in defeated legions, to restore discipline and quell any further uprisings. His methods were harsh but effective, instilling fear and obedience in his troops. The final confrontation took place near the Sela River in 71 BC. This battle would determine the fate of Spartacus and his followers. Despite being outnumbered and outmatched, Spartacus's forces fought with incredible courage and ferocity. They knew that surrender was not an option, and they fought for their freedom and their lives. Legend has it that Spartacus, in a final act of defiance, sought to reach Crassus himself, cutting his way through the Roman ranks in a desperate attempt to strike down the man he held responsible for the deaths of so many of his comrades. His bravery in the face of certain death became the stuff of legend. Though Spartacus himself fell in the battle, his body never recovered, his spirit lived on. His name became synonymous with resistance and the fight for freedom. His rebellion, though ultimately crushed, left an indelible mark on the Roman psyche. The story of Spartacus inspired future generations to question the status quo and to fight against oppression. Spartacus's legend has resonated throughout history, inspiring countless others to fight for freedom and justice. His name has become synonymous with the struggle against oppression and the quest for human dignity. His story is a potent reminder that even the most marginalized and oppressed can rise up against seemingly insurmountable odds. Spartacus's rebellion was not just a fight for survival, but a fight for a better world. His military genius lay not only in his tactical brilliance, but also in his ability to unite a disparate group of people under a common banner of freedom. He forged a sense of unity and purpose among those who had known only despair. He understood the power of hope, the importance of morale, and the effectiveness of striking fear into the hearts of his enemies. Spartacus's leadership was as much about inspiring his followers as it was about defeating his foes. More than just a gladiator or a rebel leader, Spartacus became a symbol of resistance against tyranny, a beacon of hope for the oppressed, and a testament to the indomitable human spirit that yearns for freedom. His legacy transcends time and place. His story continues to inspire us today, reminding us that the fight for justice is a fight worth fighting, no matter the odds. Spartacus's enduring legacy is a call to action for all who seek a more just and equitable world.